let's get started making your butterfly. So our goal is to take this chunk of clay and turn it into a thick cookie. So we're going to start just by packing it into a snowball. And then this is a special part. We get to lay down one of these textures. These are real cool. I'm excited about this. So we laid it down on the board, put that chunk of clay in the center, and we can start just by pressing on it, but we're not going to pick up that chunk of clay. We leave it on this really cool texture, and we can start using our fists to pound. Now, I don't want to pound so hard that I make any valleys, but if I see any mountains, I want to pound mountains down. And my goal is, I kind of have two things. I want to make it as thick as a cookie, and I need to make it as big or bigger than the butterfly stencil so that I can cut the butterfly out. So wherever I see mountains, I will lightly pound. I'm not picking up this clay. Leave the clay down. I'm going to pound where I see mountains. If I see valleys, I'll leave it alone. Check if my butterfly is big enough. Not quite yet. Keep going. I don't just have to do the edges. I can do the center, and I can make the circle longer from the center too. So I'll pound all around. Let's check every once in a while. I got to go a little more. Start from the center and work my way out. I don't just have to do the edges. All right, this should be about good. Let's see. And if it doesn't fit one way, you could turn it and see if it fits another way. Yeah, mine's looking just about good. All right, so now is my favorite part. Now we get to peel it off. So this is like peeling like a fruit roll-up. Ooh la la. That's my favorite part. I'll move that to the side. And now that beautiful texture stays up. Okay. The next thing to do is to cut your butterfly out. If the wings don't perfectly fit, if they fall off just a little bit, it's okay, it's not a problem. You're going to get a tool that's a wooden stick, and there will be a side that looks like a pencil, so you're gonna use the more pointy side, and it's gonna go straight down into the clay. Now, I do need to hold the butterfly still with one hand, and I'm going to move this tool all the way around on the other. Try not to let the butterfly move. If it moves, stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and just put it right back where it was. Right? So I'm keeping one hand down on my butterfly, and I'm moving this other hand straight up and down. That pencil or that wooden stick is straight up and down. I move it all the way around my butterfly. Right? I have to pick up, go on the other side. Keep that butterfly straight up and down. Good. Now we can take the butterfly off, take away the extra clay, put it to the side. I will use this for a couple of other things. But first, I'm gonna pick this butterfly up. You'll notice that there's a little bit of what I call boogers on the side of your butterfly. So what we'll do is you could even dip your finger in this mud water. This is just clay and water mixed together. You can dip your finger in that mud water and just run your finger along the edges. This will get rid of any of those boogers. It will smooth the clay boogers out. And when it dries, there won't be any sharp edges because sometimes those clay boogers, when they dry, they can get sharp. So we'll smooth them out just like that along the edges. Not too much water. There we go. Good, let's set that back off to the side. Next up, we'll put this to the side. It's time to make our coil. So I'm gonna take a big chunk of this extra clay, just leave a small chunk for the eyes. I'm gonna take a big chunk of this extra clay, turn it into a ball, okay? Then I'm gonna start by rolling it in my hands just a little until it looks like a thick sausage. Right? It looks like a really thick sausage. Now I can put this down on my mat and I'll start rolling. Now, this needs to just be big enough to go in the middle here. I'll even run my finger just down the center for a second to show you. It just needs to be big enough to go down the middle there. So when I lay that down, it's going over the top, it's going from the bottom. That's too big, that's too long. And this is still a little thick. Let's roll it a little more. so it's a little thinner. And I can tell this is going to be too long, but what I can do is I can just lay this on the bottom and I can cut or pinch off the top right here. So I'll just pinch that off, put this to the side. I don't really need that right now. That's the perfect body shape. Now just get rid of any of those clay boogers, smooth them out, any bumps, lumps, or cracks. Smooth it out. You can dip your finger in the mud water if there's any cracks, and you can just smooth out the cracks. You just need a little water. All right, next up, we're going to use the toothbrush, and right where the body goes, you're going to scratch with the toothbrush. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, you can see those scratch marks. Let me put that down and I'll show you. You need to be able to see those scratch marks. That means you're doing it right. If you want, you could even do the body. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see the scratch marks. Now put the scratch marks together and just wiggle it into place. Good. Press it on in a little bit. There we go. Let's make some eyes. Just a pinch of clay. Roll it into a ball. And I'm going to test this out first. I do have to use the toothbrush if I want this to stick, but I'm just going to test it out first and see if I like the eyes. If they're too big, I could pinch a little clay off and roll it into a ball again. Like, that's kind of funny. Those are really big eyes, but I think I want mine a little smaller. So I'm going to pinch a little clay off of it and re-roll it into a ball. Let me test it. Pinch a little clay off of the other eye, roll it into a ball. Yes, I like those a lot better. Now, if I want them to stick, I have to take them off real quick. I have to scrub where they're gonna go with the toothbrush. You need to be able to see those scratch marks, otherwise the eyes will fall off. So let me show you. You gotta be able to see those scratch marks right there. Okay, you could even do the bottom of the eye with the toothbrush, scratch it just a little, put the scratch marks together, scratch it just a little, put the scratch marks together. The last couple of things to do, use your wooden stick, the flat side, not the pointy side. Use the flat side and you can poke. Keep that eye in place with my hands. You can poke little eyes. You can draw a smile. And then Mrs. Eaton will help do a couple of other things for you. But that's it, artists. Good luck.